Hi, Rigsters here, back with another video, and covered yet another different game I got about a week ago, Loop Hero. So, Loop Hero is basically a card strategy deck building game. I figured it'd be interesting to at least cover at least a video of it. I actually came across this video about a few months ago through an actual YouTube channel, the Scarlet Seeker, and I really was impressed with it, but I had to wait quite a long while to get it. I finally was able to get this game about a week ago. So I did play this game for quite a while off camera just to get more familiar with it. I will be skipping tutorial and most of the story dialogue since that's pretty much been covered, so I'm just going to go right into it. It is actually a pretty well written story though, I will say. And you can skip all this with pressing the X there. So the gameplay mechanics is pretty simple and straightforward here. You basically are trying to restore a world that's been wiped out by some kind of unknown entity and force that you have to restore through memory. It's actually kind of an interesting plot and take. And there's a lot of management related stuff here, so since I'm not doing a tutorial, you have to build a campfire. And it has a little bit of lore on the side here. It might be a little hard to read because I checked off high HD textures to get that cozy early 90s text font style that I really think is pretty cool when it's done right. And they did a good job with that. I always like seeing games being different in that aspect. It's not unreadable, but there is an option there for sale. So basically what the campfire does is when you complete a loop, it heals your HP as it says below there. So you just left click there and you plop it down right there with the mouse. Easy. So there you go. The expedition. And you start off with the first chapter against looks like a levitating skeleton with a staff. And you start off with the warrior class. There is 2 other classes as well, but I don't have access to them because I'm starting fresh. And if you click on this card thing right here, you can see that these are your starting decks. You can deselect. Words makes words. You can uncheck or check various cards of your deck. You have to have a minimum of 7 and a maximum of 12 highlighted. You get these by defeating enemies around the loop. It's random chance. Some enemies sometimes give you more, some give you less. So one of the things you can do as an option, for example, you can uncheck Beacon, which basically increases movement speed, but also increases attack speed for everybody. That sometimes is not always a good thing to have, but as an experiment, I will check this on. And since this is my first run of this very new save file, I'm going to have actually everything by default enabled. If you want, you can also do custom deck builds with this 1 through Roman numeral 4, and you can have like different decks for save slots. So for example, if you don't want, say, Beacon, and you want to do like a different build, you can press 2 here, and look, the Beacon's available. Click on 1, there you go. So I'm going to have Beacon actually enabled in this case, because I want the hero to move faster. And on the side right here, if it's hard to read here, I do apologize. It's just the way the game, if you want to play it like it's intended, or you can read this, it basically gives you a loadout of the chapter, how many abilities they have, enemy strength, and growth per cycle, and amount of resources per each event occurrence. This describes your class, which is the default warrior, has the highest durability, and gets 2% damage for each second of the fight. These are additional class stats, which I'll kind of explain a little bit as I go into it. So, if nothing else is selected to do, you press start. Now, there is a lot of dialogue that's actually pretty cool and interesting to read, but I'm not going to be showcasing that because I've seen this many times through various plays and videos. But it is good. If you like reading, well, this is a game for you. Well, it's not over bombardment, but I've seen it enough times, I know what it is. But in case if you didn't, check out people like Scarlet Seeker or other people. There is a lot of coverage on this already. So I just press on the X here, and you can bypass all that. Now, one thing I will show you right here is the expedition speed. What this does is it does not affect the speed of the battler, but when your character moves around in the loop phase. You can slide this around here. You go from 1 to 4. I usually keep it on 3. Some people prefer 2. If you make it too fast, you might not be able to react in time. So you gotta take that into account. And we let this little neat battle go on. And then a right click to pause. Now, there is a setting here, when I press escape and go to the options menu, that you can also do some interesting stuff like CRT shader, which can add a CRT filter effect. But I wanted to show also some of the icons you can change here. That's kind of interesting. I didn't know about the highlight part. I knew about this parts right here. I'm going to paint them aqua blue there. And this is the game thing. These are preference things you can do. You can like select battle pause and hover over units or items. You can also pause the game when it's out of focus. You can, if you want to cheese while changing fight speed, if you want. I mean, it is there. Also, what you could do is if you complete a lap or a run, you can have the game automatically pause for planning phase. Or you can have it set to automatically pause after each battle if you don't want to right click. Oh, and for the fonts here, this is what it looks like when you press on the fonts, just to show you what it looks like. I'm going to keep it back to default pixel fonts, but that's there as well if you want to make that easier to read or different. And we'll continue. So the next thing you want to do is the slime that you just killed, that's what you start off with, is you can place down a card, and you can place it anywhere where these green circle looking things are. I know they're not actually called circle looking things, but I'm going with that. Road Lantern is useful for reducing the amount of spawning enemies within range, and you can stack these. So ideally, if you want to have like a looping section, you start here and you walk along the path, in this case from right to left. So you start here and you go around in the loop. That's the whole point of the game. For example, a good placement for a road lantern could be right here. I'm thinking actually of doing something that I haven't really done much, is I'm going to hyperstack near the front end of the loop instead of near the back end of the loop. So put that there. Shield does what it says, it has defense, definitely equip that. And you get better gear as you complete the loop. Just like that, and you watch him bash it. There you go. Now I'm not going to place down the cemetery yet, I'm going to wait. And just let the game do its auto battling thing. There you go. And then I'll pause it real quick here with the right mouse button. I'm looking at this sword. Yeah, there's not much to that one. So we'll just put that there. Mountain. Now this adds hit points to your pole, and you can stack mountains and rocks next to each other. So for example, I'm going to build in the corner. I usually prefer building in corners for rocks. It makes it easier. You can place them in a lot of different spots. Now Grove spawns a new enemy called Ratwolf, and they can move across adjacent tiles. They actually get put on the actual road themselves, and this particular card also can have them spawn up here or down here if I place it in the middle, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. What I'm also going to do is now I'll put the cemetery down that puts a skeleton on. They spawn slower. I'm going to put that above it, right so. And what this road lantern will do is it'll prevent these enemies from death balling, or aka super stacking, all these enemies right here so I don't get overwhelmed. At least that's the plan. Since it's the very first run on a new save file, I'm not sure how far of a loops I can complete. Usually you can complete 2 to 3 loops before you get into serious trouble when you first start out. That's good. I'm just going to let it stack some more cards, like so. There you go. Alright, now I can pause it. So now we got some new cards here for this run, or at least for this save file, is metal, which basically there's a day clock cycle right here that progresses, and this counts while you're in battle or you're going around the loop. Each new virtual day adds hit points that you regenerate once you place down metal. Metals. Yeah, metal. Like this. And if you stack it next to the rock, instead of 2 HP per day, you get 3 for a total of 6. Yeah, math. So I'm just placing down these rocks, like so, because you want to stack them together. And what else do we got here? A treasury. So a treasury, basically you have to build as a stack. You want to have a lot of space for these because they require a grid of squares. So if I place this down in the middle, for example, I need to put on rock or metal or any other card that you can place outside the loop, and it gets you good stuff. So it's always a good idea when you have these to place it in a grid area. That's how those work. Spider Tycoons are pretty easy. You just place them inside the loop somewhere. In this case, I'm going to put it right next to the lantern. They're weak enemies, but they can overwhelm you en masse. They don't give you good loot, but they're a great way of getting stuff. So now I also got a ring that allows me to regenerate a little bit less than, or slightly more than, like half a hit point per clock tick. I'll take it. And I'll put another cemetery down, because why not? And more mountains. And another road lantern, so I'll put that right over here. Now you could actually like put them next to each other to do something like this. I usually like to space them out, like so that way you have space to put more stuff. And we continue the loop. Okay, so pause it real quick. See, it's always good to check these shields because sometimes they may give you more or less defense on your first loop. Since that's not the case, we'll keep going. And now we just finished our first loop, so now the enemies are going to be level 2. And as the description says, it affects the enemy's level. My mouse is a little bit derpy today. Affects the enemy's levels and also the level of equipment. So that means now we have a chance of getting level 2 equipment on this run. So now we just watch them bash each other. There we go. Since something interesting happened, we'll keep going. There you go. Just like that. And you just keep letting them walk around. Now this is a rat wolf. You can also, if you have that default enabled, if you mouse over the enemy, you can see his HP, his damage, attacks per second, defense, and special modifiers. This is a living creature, and it has a soul. And this is just you with plus 4% damage. Your goal also is to try to get as much loot as possible, ideally surviving. And now this is a skeleton. He is not living, he's undead, but he has a soul. His damage is much higher, but you'll see real quick here, he doesn't charge his attack as much. And if you're wondering, like, well, where are you seeing that, Riggs? You see this little blue bar right here? It's right below this bar, if I can... Yeah. Ah, here we go. Yeah, you see this, it's really hard to see, but if you see just slightly above this spider, they don't really have anything special. They're really fast attackers, though. They have this blue bar, and that's when they actually will strike or throw their weapons. Or do something. That's like your action. The gray bar, I still don't know what that does. I think that's like either evasion or special ability has a chance to activate, is what I've understood. And what else do we have here? We also have a new shield that says level 3 and it's a different color. These colors denote rarity. Yellow is above average, orange is rare and really lots of stats stacked on it. Sometimes it's worth taking those at a lower level and waiting for better loot. Sometimes it's not. In this case, of course, we're going to just slap that on there. And of course armor, which just adds more health. Put that there. And let's slap down some more spiders. And a new card for this particular run is the Vampire Mansion. They add vampires to battles on tiles around it. So you just place it right around here. That also adds vampirism in the radius that it shows for all enemies. But that's okay, they have really good loot. And now we'll also move the meadow next to the tower. You also get some resources. If you want to see that, you click on this backpack right here. And you can also like mouse over random materials you need to do stuff. And just continue. Now another thing you can do is the treasury can spawn blooming metals if you place them in a 4x4 grid. I usually like doing that. It's a nice convenient way of having blooming metals to restore HP per day better. And we'll build the mountain some more. It's like that. And I'm going to add a groove next to there. And since you encounter a new enemy, they have each their little story and stuff. Like that. They have like a little story and stuff as well and explain what happened or what the corruption caused and all that. It's kind of interesting too. Like they have a little story and stuff. It's neat. You know, it adds, you know, to the game mechanic when you first encounter a new enemy or boss. Or new buildings, for that matter. It's actually pretty decent writing, I would say. The writing on this game is pretty good. So we'll go through one more loop. And now we've got a new armor piece. Slap that on there. And put on some more rocks. And now, if you noticed, it formed a mountain peak. So now I get plus 120 max HP, 5 max HP for every adjacent, and spawns a harpy, which we have not encountered yet, but they also give good loot, but they can be annoying at times. So I'm going to put down some more metal and rock here. Just like so. I don't want to complete the treasure yet. I want to save that for a higher loop. You might be wondering, well, why wouldn't you just finish it right away? Sometimes you want to wait for those to get a better loot drop chance, because sometimes you can get really good gear out of that. So let this run. There you go. Ooh. Now that's important. More damage? Yes. The axe and sword symbol don't really mean much unless if they have like a modifier. Since it's just a normal non-colored card, it doesn't really do anything outside of more damage. There we go. And you can let this box fill for your loot on the right here, and you can get extra gear. Oh, a level 4 sword. That's more damage. Yes. I always like doing more Phil Swift damage. Now, battlefield. What this does is it spawns a chest on each adjacent tile in each loop. Enemies on the tiles around it can become ghosts when they die, so if they have a soul, they can spawn in ghosts, which sometimes is annoying, but sometimes it can drop interesting stuff. And you put it within a radius, so right here, I can have a chance of a chest showing in this region. Just like so. There we go. Ooh, so this blue means it's above average grade. You also get more HP regen per second, 1.2. Slap that on there. And as you can see, if your stats right here, you can see like the pure damage, regen, defense, and evasion, and HP per day. That's where you can tell if you're actually helping your character or hero, or you're hurting him. And of course, this is your HP right here. Oh, so here's an interesting predicament. I could equip the Derrick, which does less damage, but I get better evasion. You could do that. It's 4 less, 2 less minimal, and 4 less max. I'm gonna take that chance. I want more evasion. And also, what I'm gonna do is put on a beacon. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right around. Oh, I don't want to buff that. Let's put it right around here. They increases movement speed, but also attack speed for everybody. So you gotta be really careful with that. Put a metal there, and a mountain rock there. Oh, I got 2 rings there. So let's take a look at the rings here. Counter 12, counter 12, attack speed 8. Yeah, let's increase the attack speed. Attack speed, of course, as it implies, it makes the attack faster. There you go. Now I've got really good loot here. This orange one denotes like a rare weapon. Ooh, that does even less damage, but you get even more attack speed and pure damage. Yeah, I'll take the chance with that. I know it's less damage. Vampirism. Not for this build. Let's put on another battlefield too. Put on a rock right there. And there you go. And then this is the Goblin. The first time we encountered that. They're greedy and they want to kill you. And they're also really annoying. And they attack really fast too. They are one of the more difficult creatures to face off against. Oh, no. Oh, this is the Harper, or Harpy. So Harpies pretty much don't want to help you and they want to kill you too. So there you go. If you sense the pattern here, a lot of the enemies that spawn on these loops pretty much want to kill you. There you go. Long story in a nutshell. Now what I could do with this Oblivion card is you can erase people on the loop or the spawn thing, or you can even remove actual stuff that you've built. I'm going to actually remove the Goblin camp because they appear every 10 mountain/rock tiles. I don't really want to face them. But I will put on another lantern right here to reduce the amount of enemies. And just to demonstrate before I wrap this up here, what the treasury does when you fill the 4x4 grid. There you go. That's what happens. You get a lot of resources and items as well. So that's it for this first video of Loop Hero. If you guys are more interested in seeing more of this or want me to keep going, let me know. I also cover Forza Horizon 5 videos, racing games, all sorts of stuff. Because, you know, it's a gaming channel. Sometimes it's good to branch out and try other things. I would recommend this game if you like this kind of stuff, by the way. So this is Rigsters Journey, signing off.